Hello everybody, this is Bernadet. Thank you for being in this podcast. This is a episode of On the Road, and that means that we are in an event or we are in another country. And today I want to take you to India, and I'm actually taping this podcast in India. So if you hear some street noise behind me, that's because I'm in the middle of the heart of India where it all happens. So I'm one of the lucky ones who are traveling to lots of countries, and I had to go to India for a few events, but I was also invited in silk industry. Now I understand when you say silk industry, that's something, from the past, or we didn't hear that much about silk industry, but being in India, I thought it was the most interesting industry you can be in. For India, it's the oldest industry, and it's a very important part of Indian textile industry. It's one of the prime industries. Now, silk for me is always very elegant, very sophisticated. I'm sure I've seen royal families in Europe wearing silk, and I really like it, especially when I'm here now and see all these women in all these colorful dresses. I think it's a great product. Now, silk manufacturing is flourishing industry. It's still growing, actually. I did some research and talked to a lot of people and also some people who know a little bit more about the silk industry. Well, first of all, by numbers, they have between 9 and 10 million people working in silk industry. So that's a lot. It's a huge industry, and also it's about $250 million US industry. Now, to see a little bit more about opportunities in this silk industry for entrepreneurs, for investors, for our listeners, I wanted to visit some factories just to know how the silk is made, and also to get a little bit more idea of the factory life and how they make the silk. So one day I had the opportunity to visit a very, very enjoyable private-owned factory. It's in Mulberry Silk ARM Industry, and it's owned by 4 brothers. The brothers Baik. I'm just saying Baik, but I don't know if I say it right, but I'm sure they understand who I'm talking about. Ahmed Saddam Noor, and also the youngest brother, to be honest, I don't remember his name, but he was the happy one, the funny one. And the 4 brothers together owning this private factory showed me around all day, and it was one of the best days I had here in India. Now, the silk all started with the cocoon, which is like a cotton ball. That's how I would subscribe it. It's brought to the factory from the farmers, and the cotton ball have to go to a lot of processing. So it has to be dried and cleaned, and before it goes into a sort of machine where people make threads out of these cotton balls. It's an amazing process to see, and I remember Ahmed, who's the owner of and the boss of the factory, looking out of his office and looking very proudly because of his factory growing. There is new technology. People are happy working to this beautiful product, and it was a joy to see, I have to say. We were there all day, and I cannot believe the scene and the happy vibe I found in that factory. At the same time, I thought, this is such a sustainable product. This is such a great way to make textile. So after that, we went to lunch with the brothers, and I tell you, I not only got a lesson in how to make silk, but I also got a lesson in Indian hospitality. So well done, thank you so much for all these brothers who gave me that day. Now after that, we went to Mysore Silk, which is a weaving factory. They dye the silk there, they weave the textile there. It's in Karnataka, which is known as the largest silk producers area in India. Now, one of the interesting things is that the demand for silk is still rising, and there is a reason for it actually. That's actually because with the coming of new technologies, the factories are being much more modern nowadays. But one of the main reasons why the silk industry is still rising is by social media, YouTube, the new marketing. Now suddenly the export is, and finding new markets is much easier. And because of that, because of the rising of the silk industry, there are a lot of programs from Indian governments who are helping this industry. For example, the State Bank of India has a very active funding initiative where people can have loans and grow their business. There's also a Small Industry Development Bank of India. They have financial support schemes for small business owners. And there are several funds and loans, etc., etc. And that's a good thing because the industry was slugging in the recent years. But with the new technology and the digital platforms, the industry can be revived and structured the best way. And here to me is where the opportunities comes in, because I think so too. The silk industry is very sustainable, which is very important these days, more than ever before. It's a very peaceful industry to me. It's just like the same way we make sweaters, woolen sweaters from the sheeps. We make textile for silk. So I think it's such a peaceful industry. And also, of course, the product is beautiful. So I think the future of silk is really interesting. Now, and this is what I would like to share with you. I'm always, if you know me, you know that I see always opportunities in every industry. So wherever I travel, whichever industry I'm visiting, I see the opportunity and I would love to share them with you. Now, one of the opportunities I saw, and I really was excited about it, is own your own factory. Own your own factory. There are a lot of small factories who cannot be out there in India with silk, and they cannot beat the rates anymore. You have to grow with the group if you want to stay in business. And nowadays, you understand, social media coming up, technology is coming up, so not every factory is growing with that new modern way of making silk, and so they are struggling. And here it is, because I think that silk should be made to the Indian people who know best about how to make silk, but you bring something to the table. And that's so interesting, because I think what kind of adventure it would be if you're not only you're buying the factory and you work together with Indian people and you bring so much knowledge of technology or marketing to the table and bring it on an international market. I think that's a very huge opportunity. You can even go for e-commerce. Now, I understand that you say silk is such a romantic kind of industry. Are we needing, the technology, and we needing e-commerce? Well, probably not. But you know what? You cannot stop it. That's the way it goes these days. I think the opportunity of having your own silk factory in India and using the skills as an entrepreneur we know nowadays here in the West. So, for example, the e-commerce opportunity, the marketing, the social media. I think together with the Indian people who know how to make silk, that's a win-win to me, and I think that's an opportunity. I just wanna show you. And yeah, if you are interested in this, just go to the internet. There are so many agencies and programs in India who can tell you more about it. It sounds like a great adventure and something. And probably there will be somebody who likes to do this. Another one is, of course, for the designers. You know, if you're a designer, have your own textile made in India for your own brand. I went to this factory who are dyeing and waving the textile, and they have these ponds card where they make the design and they are making your own textile for your own design. So if you are a designer and you're thinking of a new collection, think about this opportunity, because India is a great place to work. The people are so sweet. They love to work with you. They are more than willing to make it beautiful and successful for you. And I think that there is a market. There's a market out there. And I think if you have your own design and you have it made in India, I think that is a great business opportunity to me. So all designers, if you're interested, think about this. Now, the last one I want to say is, of course, invest. There are a lot of ways to invest in Indian silk industry. I know the State Bank of India has an active funding initiative. You can always go there. There's also the Small Industries Development Bank of India, who have final support schemes for small business owners. There are several funds and loans, because silk industry is so important for India. Now, everybody who thinks it's a great idea to see if there are opportunities outside of Europe, outside of USA, outside of UK, think of India and see if one of these opportunities is something for you. Of course, if you have any question or you want to use one of my contacts to do something, go to podcast@EuropeanLifeMedia.com and I will, of course, answer. So if you want to know more about silk industry, go to the internet. There are a lot of agencies telling you about it. There are a lot of reports who can tell you more about the numbers and who gives you great contacts. But for now, I really want to focus on my great day in that silk factory with the 4 lovely brothers from India. And I had that peaceful feeling in that factory, that I was in the middle of a very sustainable, loving kind of product. And I think that, I hope that I can give you a little bit of that enthusiasm I have, because I think there are opportunities here. And so, keep your eye open. But I think India is a great country to work with. So for now, I hope I have given you enough information. At least I hope I gave you a little bit of my enthusiasm of this industry. Silk as a luxury product. If you have a question, you want to add something, or just go to our website and get in contact. And who knows, maybe I visit your factory soon, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I want to thank you for your time and being here today. And from lovely India, I will say goodbye. So hope to see you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening today. Please subscribe and share this podcast. Do you have a question or a story to share? Please find us at podcast@EuropeanLifeMedia.com.